welcome to the Guts to Fail. It's Thursday, May 6th, and I have Corinna Cunningham with me from the UK. She is a badass entrepreneur that has mastered the pivot. I found her because I was downloading some of her amazing products for social media marketing. I know I do that for a living myself, but hey, we all need other people that inspire us, and she is definitely one of my people. A couple of things about her. She is a full-blown actor turned into a marketer, and she is great at storytelling, film, theater, and taking her entertainment experience and infusing that into all of her products and her services for her clients. So today we are really going to dive into creating an authority based in your social media by being authentic and speaking directly to your audience, which when I was taking the notes for this show, I loved because it all starts with the AU, authority, authenticity, and audience. And I just I loved that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you and let you talk all about yourself and your windy road to where you're at right now.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'll just start at the beginning, shall I? I'll start at the beginning. So yeah, I trained as an actor. So going back when I was little, I never wanted to be a marketer or a business owner. I never was, I wasn't a 12-year-old girl saying, oh, when I grow up, I want to go into marketing. That wasn't what you did. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a performer. And I kind of stuck to that as a kid and went to drama school, studied it at university. I really, really stuck to it. And when I was studying it and training it, when I was doing it for my exams and at university, I didn't just learn about drama. I learned there was a whole host of other things that came into it, like learning how to read scripts and learning how to tell stories and how to write and all of that kind of stuff. So my love of drama was what really drove me. My love of telling stories, my love of, being performing and stuff. And I went to drama school. And I came out of drama school in 2009 when there was that big financial crash, which was great. Mm-hmm. So, throughout drama school, they had told us like, oh, you have to make your own work. It's not going to be as easy as you think it is. You have to make your own work. You have to, be ready. And when you're young and slightly naive, you don't listen, really. You just do what you want to do. But I found that, the industry was a lot harder to get into. They were taking less risks and things like that. And it was a lot harder. And so I kind of fell into like a bit of a depression, really. I really struggled to figure out how the frick, I'm not going to swear on this, how the beep I'm going to take all this training that I've had, this training in storytelling and performing and relationships with people. And how do I make money out of that? Like, what do I do? And I got really stuck, to be honest. And I took a lot of temp jobs, bar jobs, and really, really tried not to do, this is going to sound weird, but I really tried not to do what I'm doing now, which is I really tried not to build my own business. I didn't want to go freelance. I didn't want to build my own business. I was like, I don't know anything about business. I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything about that. It's not my background. Why would I do that? And so I got really stuck. But those moments when I got stuck, I think were real lessons for me, because I started working as a temp and I got to see behind the scenes in a lot of different businesses. I got to work as a temp in I worked as a temp at London Zoo, Chelsea Football Club, in a mental health hospital, in Juicy Couture. Like all these crazy places, I got to see behind the curtain and work there and work with all these people. And I started to realize that, I'm not going to say that I could do it. Like if these guys could do it, why can't I do it? And the more I worked there, the more frustrated I got, because when you're a temp, people underestimate you. They underestimate the work that you can do just because you're sitting on reception. They think you don't see things and they think you don't understand things. And so they say things in front of you that they probably shouldn't say. And they say things to you that you're like, why are you telling me this? because I don't know, it's like their guard is down. And so I got a really interesting insight into business, into the way people ran their businesses and the way they managed their teams. And then, as I was saying to you just before we came online, I started working through a friend. I got a job working for an e-commerce company that was run by ex-teachers. They were teachers who had left the teaching industry because they were burned out, because they were frustrated with, I mean, in the UK, teaching is tough. It's really, really tough. And so the people I worked with were all ex-teachers, or they were like part-time teachers and part-time working in this e-commerce company. And they were basically making, a bit like what I do now, is sort of they're making templates and tools that teachers can use in their lessons, lesson plans, lesson products and stuff like that, so that they could save time with their teaching. Because the paperwork, as I understand it, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in the UK, the paperwork is like, you spend most of the time doing paperwork. You don't actually teach the kid, you do. Yeah. This was a massive learning curve for me. I was there like receptionist / like customer service person, because I was still acting at the time. And I could hear how frustrated they were and how stressed out they were, and getting emails from teachers being like, thank you so much for this template. Oh my God, this was amazing. And realizing just how hard people had it when they weren't in charge of their own days, and when they weren't when they were answering in the UK, you have a lot of teachers who have to answer to the head teacher, who then have to answer to their, and it's just this crazy, and there's so much red tape, and there's a lot of I've had stories of parents putting their nose in where they just completely oh my goodness. And so I started to, the good thing about this particular role was that the owner was an ex-teacher who had built her own business. And so I managed to learn from her how this could be done. Like, I saw her, she was a teacher, which was an ex-teacher, and I could see how she was managing the day-to-day of running her own business. I could see how she was managing the team, how she was sort of managing. She was like, I'm still a teacher. I don't know. There'd be times where she was like, I'm running a business and I'm a teacher. Like, what am I doing? There'd be times where she was like, she would get comments from customers online about her products that she make, and she would get really, really upset and really hurt because she put her heart into it. This is for the kids. She was like, I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this because I know you teachers are stressed. And so I could see everything that she was doing, and I could see how she built the business. And I think I kind of took it in through osmosis. I think I just sort of observed, and as I worked there for about 2 or 3 years and just kind of took it all in. And while I was there, because it was quite flexible, I realized, they don't have a social media presence really back then. I was like, can I do it? And she was like, yeah, I hate social media. You do it. You do what you want. I was like, great. I'm going to go crazy with it. And
wait, hold on, I've got a question. So far, right before we started, we talked about combination lock. So you're an actress, and you're still acting. Yeah. You are doing temp jobs, and you worked at a mental hospital and Juicy Couture. Those are the two that like stuck at the top of my head. I don't even know if they're on the same spectrum, but totally different jobs, doing totally different things, seeing behind the scenes, because they thought you were just like a peon, just sitting there at the, she's not listening. They would divulge these details of, behind the scenes talk, and you were, taking note, and then you got to see behind the scenes, and then you're like, well, wait a minute, if these idiots can do it, I can do it. And so you had all this interesting insight. And then you talked about how this teacher that you worked for, that turned into a business owner, that really didn't know her ass from apple butter when it came to, creating a business. You didn't know how to create a business, but you're learning through osmosis that other people that didn't know how to do it, they did it, and you're building your confidence, and you're getting inspiration that you could do it too. And the business that you were helping her with was template driven to increase the quality of the lives of the teachers, right? And then you said that they got a bad email or something, and like, oh, this template sucks or whatever. Were you the one? I read an email one time, and it was a newsletter, or, and it was about how you had launched a product and you got like backlash or something. It was a very
Oh,
rough.
yeah.
I read that, and that after that email, I contacted you because I had just experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
And it crushed me. And it was just about one link not working. And this lady annihilated me. And it was devastating. And you put your heart and soul into it for something. And then you get something like that back from these keyboard warriors that are just rude and have no life. But you kept going and you used that to fuel you. And so I really, I just wanted to, anyways, I was recapping. So now you're on the right track. So now template driven business, teacher turned business owner, and you're still acting. Sorry.
No. Okay. Yeah. No. Yes. What was I doing? Yeah. So she, yeah, I would see how she would react, because I was doing customer service. So I would get it first. And it was weird because back then, like, that wasn't my business. So I didn't take it personally. And I'd worked in, bars, and I'd been like, I could deal with people being absolute poop heads to me, because it wasn't my business. So it didn't really bother me. So I was quite happy to, do all the stuff. But when I have to report it back to her, she was very much like, yeah. So I spent time with them, and luckily the business was flexible enough to allow me to start playing around with, like, oh, okay, I can do social media for you. I can do, can I write a blog for you? Can I do, like, they didn't have this content. They were just there for the teachers. And so they hadn't thought about their marketing. And as I was there, I was seeing these gaps in customer service, because I'd have people emailing saying, what's included? Like, how do I get this? Will this help? Like, asking all these questions that were the same kind of questions that kept coming up. And I was like, well, we could just do social media marketing and really express more clearly what was in these products. But they weren't doing that. That wasn't part of, that just wasn't on her radar. So luckily she was like, yeah, you just do it. You do the blog, and whatever. And this allowed me, which was great, because she had other things to think about. Like, she had things like all this other stuff. So she kind of just let me have free reign to really kind of mess about with the marketing. She let me, I took like an online copywriting course, and I would take like a digital marketing course in the evenings. And then I would kind of put into practice what I'd learned in her business. Just really, like, I didn't go crazy. I wasn't like taking over, but I just tested it. And I would add, when they put emails out, when they did do stuff, I would just make suggestions and stuff like that. And that's kind of how the marketing started. Is I was very lucky that she just kind of let me have a go, which was great, and gave me a lot of confidence and kind of the ability to just see if I could do it. And what I found, especially after doing the copywriting course and the digital marketing, was that I found it very, very interesting that what I was learning with marketing was that people, it was a lot like what I'd learned at drama school and when I was studying drama at university, is that a lot of the principles were the same with marketing. To me, it was like, oh, you've got to have a voice, you've got to have an opinion, you've got to be wanting to get the other person to do something. It was all like, I was like, I've done this before. I did this at university when we were studying English and drama. Like, I know this. Yeah. But it was just slightly different because it was copywriting. So there were just some techniques that I learned that were, okay, well, this is a call to action, which you don't have in drama. These are the ways that you format your blogs and your emails so that's easier to read, stuff like that. And then there came a time at the business where I kind of hit the ceiling, like there was nowhere for me to go. I couldn't progress in the business because I wasn't a teacher. I didn't have the educational experience. And at that time, my partner and I were going to move out of our flat. We wanted to buy a house. We wanted to move out of our flat. And my parents had space in their like they've got an attic space. So like a little annex thing. And it was the right time to just kind of like try going freelance. And I said it as a joke to my partner. I was like, won't it be great if I go freelance and we'll move back in with my parents and we'll just try it for a year and see what happens. Won't that be funny? And he went, yeah, no, we should. And I just went, no, what? Like, what? He was like, yeah. He was like, we move back in with your parents. We'll save money. You get going with your freelance business. And we'll be out of there in like a year. This was before the pandemic. So I was like, okay, no, oh, okay, what have I done? So we did it because we just thought we were both at that place. We were like, we're going to make a change. And then I moved back in with my parents. I started freelancing with this copywriting, digital marketing training that I had, not having a clue how to freelance, not having a clue how hard it would be to get clients, not having a clue how to get clients, not having a clue how to cold email, how to like, if someone had told me what I'd been through since then and asked me, would you want to do that again? I'd be like, you crazy. I'm not going to do that again. It's so stressful, but it has made me the business that I have today. That kind of naivety and that kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I have to do it. Let's just jump in and see what happens. Really, really worked, because it meant I was more open to trying new things. It meant like I didn't have, like I had to make it work, basically. It was that kind of like do or die. Like, you either make this work, you're living with your parents, they're driving you nuts, you're living in their attic, you have no money. If you don't make this work, it's on you. And that kind of motivated me to keep my eyes and ears open for any opportunities that came up. So I started.
That was you had the guts to fail.
Yeah.
You told your partner and he was like, yeah, let's do it. Y'all had the guts to fail. You moved back into with your parents, saved money. You're like, I'm just going to give it a go. I'm going to try. And I love that. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I didn't realize, I think at that time as well, what had helped is leading up to that, the past year or two as well had been a struggle in terms of sort of what am I going to do with my life? And I started reading a lot. I started reading a lot of, those kind of, I don't want to call them like self-help books, but those books like about growth mindset and about being more confident in business, like all those kind of books that you hear about. I was like, well, if I'm a freelancer and I don't know, I think it was like a friend of mine who said, like, she said something to me like, the reason she was a business owner, she's an actor as well, she owns her own business, owns her own gym. She's someone I went to drama school with, so she's my like big sister, like, what do I do? And she was like, the reason I know you're going to do it is because you're willing to fail and that you're willing to learn, that you read all these books, you learn from people, and you're a bit like a sponge. And so I think before I hadn't realized it at the time, but all these books that I'd started reading about being more confident, about growth mindset, I read like Lean In, I read The Power of Vulnerability, like all those kind of books, I think really, really helped me, so that when I did fail, when I did get that email about that person was like, oh, listed all the reasons why my product was so awful and so terrible and why I should never, I was just like, yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks and I wanted to cry. I did cry. I cried and I went for a walk in the rain and I think I left like really grumpy, angry voice notes on WhatsApp to a couple of friends who would find it hilarious. And it was great because I let off all that steam and I realized like, oh, okay. Oh, this is business. This is business. You're going to make something. People are going to let you know their lovely, lovely opinions about it. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. I mean, I thought it was okay. And the people who bought it thought it was okay. But for some reason, it wasn't okay for this person.
The person who did that to me, the same sort of reaction is I cried. I called people and vented. I was like, yeah! And I called a website developer who's a good friend of mine, but she's across the country. But at the end of the day, my assistant and I started referring to this lady who downloaded the 5-week course, right? So I had to deal with her.
Wow.
We called her the editor. So she paid me for the course, but really as meticulous and micromanaging as she was, that course, every single thing that she griped about, we went back and we edited and we made sure we made the link bigger and whatever. And I'll tell you what, the next time I launched that course, I was not worried about it at all because I knew every single detail that might have been a little not user friendly or something was edited and fixed. So she paid me to edit my course. So thank you.
I love that. Yeah, it's hard to when it first arrives in your inbox, and when you first see it, the first thing you do is like, oh my god, I've done something terribly wrong. I have to take it off the internet straight away. And it's like this one person seems to outshine all the other people who think it's great, but this it's like their voice is so much louder than everyone else's, and you freak out and you only listen to them. But you're right. Yeah, I like. Of the few people that have had some incredibly lovely constructive criticism to say about my products, I have gone back and I've been like, okay, is what they're saying valid, or are they just, and for each of them, I can see, okay, I see your point. If you wanted this from my product, you didn't get it because X, Y, Z. And like, I've made a list now, so I am actually planning on going back, hopefully in the next month or two, to just go back through my stuff and be like, okay, where can I improve it? Where would someone need more explanation here? Where would someone need a bit more help here? Because when I was starting out, I had this massive fear of like, it has to be perfect before it goes out. It has to be perfect before everyone buys it. And I was working with a business mentor, and they were like, you're not going to know if it's perfect until someone tells you it's not perfect. And that was the scariest lesson for me to learn. I was like, but I don't think it's perfect. And they were like, well, someone else won't think it's perfect either, but they still might buy it and find some value from it. And you're not going to he was like, this is going to be fine for a version 1. You can make a version 2 and a version, like you're doing with your course, version 2, version 3, but there's no way you're going to know what's relevant to your market unless you put it out there and get that feedback. And yeah, some of that feedback is,
yes, what you just said, you're never going to know unless you put it out and get feedback. You can't revise something that you've never tested before.
Yeah.
And people are afraid they don't grab their big girl panties and they don't have the guts to fail. And you have to fail in order to learn. And so I created this big Mama Jamma course, and I'm about to ask you this because I really want you to talk about your products with the last 8 minutes. But what I found in this course is it's intimidating to my audience. It's everything that all of them want to know, but it's in such it's a 5-week course, and it leads you through it. But really what they want, instead of $1,000 course that's 5 weeks long, teaches you everything, they want the first step for $9. I download that. And then so I learned that, right? And that's one of the things that really turned me on to your products is their template. Well, the one that I downloaded is template driven, and it's a springboard for ideas for me, for my marketing. And it guides me when I'm stuck. When I'm like, I'm super tired from bingo last night. It's one of the events I do, and I'm really dragging around right now. But I can turn to your product and be like, I can look like a rock star, I just come up with this, you know what I mean? It's just
like easy.
Yeah. So tell us about your journey to where you're at, and economy tanking in 2008, 2009, and then turning into all that, and then using all that, and then the guts to fail, moving in with your parents, and then COVID probably happened, and you're like, well, that lasted a lot.
Yeah, that's great.
Tell me about your business now, and take us from you're in the flat, you're freelancing, you're learning all that stuff, to creating your first product. And tell us about your products now and how far you've come from that.
The products now, so the one you're talking about is 365 social media ideas, but you can apply them to sort of blogs and content and anything else you want to do. And the idea behind that was like, what I've learned is like, when you're building a business, there's a ton of other people doing the exact same thing as you. So what's going to make you stand out? What's the one thing that you've got above everyone else? And so for me, it was the acting and the storytelling kind of stuff. So with me, I put in a couple of, okay, I've got these templates. They're going to be more story-based templates. They're going to be less about, okay, post this, and more about, oh, tell us why you feel like this. Tell us 3 things about you that we don't know, because as in acting, that's what makes people watch the story is the things that you want to know about the character. And that's just sort of, I remember you saying that it was like people want entertainment and authenticity kind of smushed together from their businesses that they follow. They want, and that's where the trends are going right now. It's more being yourself, but kind of telling a story and being more engaging. We're kind of coming full circle actually with marketing. We're kind of going back to like, you know, tell us why we should care about you, because, you know, the stories that you tell. And so that's why I put sort of 3 videos in there as well. It was just talking about how you can stand out with these prompts by sharing your own experiences and telling your own stories. And then some other products in my business are things like I've got a big library of templates where it is literally just copy and paste and go. And that's more of again, but that's like longer templates and actually written out stuff. But the whole idea with my business is that it's like, you've got to connect with people on a more authentic level. You've got to tell your stories about yourself that you may not really want to tell all the time. Like that email that I sent out where that person was really mean to me. In the moment, I was like, it was the worst day ever. It was a horrible, horrible day. And then when I came home and thought about it, I remembered like, oh my God, like my customers will have probably gone through this. And my brain was fried. I'd been crying. I didn't want to think about anything. So I was like, I'm just going to put this in an email and see what happens. Send. And then just didn't think about it. And like, you know, ate my ice cream and, you know, sat in front of Netflix, and my boyfriend bought me a bottle of wine. I was just like, oh, I hate everyone. And then like literally the next day, like I had responses from people and yourself being like, yes, like this is it. This is what it's like. And it was like, this kind of proves that like you have to be okay with being yourself. Like your journey and how you come to be where you are now and the business that you have, and your windy in and out journey, that's what makes your business stand out. So even if you do sell the same thing as someone else, they have their journey, you have your journey, and that's how you're going to stand out. And that's how you're going to entertain people with your own stories of how you've come to be where you are, infuse it with your personality, your experiences. That's why some of my prompts are like, you know, tell us about the day that you felt like you failed. Did that, you know, tell us about the day that you feel like, I don't know. And like, you know, it's all about just kind of, because that's what people want to hear. You know, I'm not saying like you have to like bleed in your social media. Like, no, don't share things you don't want to share, but like tell people. Sorry?
Be vulnerable. Don't just show the highlight reels.
Yeah.
I mean, email. Okay. Let's just talk about this for a second. How many freaking hundreds of emails have I signed up for? And I did every day. Oh, I signed up for this. Oh yeah, I want to hear about that. I can't read them all. But I remember, first of all, whatever your title was, okay, captured me. But for some reason, I opened it and read it. It had nothing to do with your product as far as, ooh, can I learn something? It had to do with, oh, good, somebody else feels the way that I feel. It had to do with feelings and experience behind the scenes, and that things aren't perfect. Because what I've noticed is, and right now we're sitting right beside each other. You're in the UK, I'm in the US. You do, you're in the same industry as I am, and it's community over competition, and it's lifting each other up by letting each other know that, hey, I'm not perfect, and I just put that crap out there, and I wait to see what's wrong with it so that I can version 2. I'm so glad somebody else does that too, because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like
there's nothing else there's literally, you can't be perfect. Like I'm like, this is what I think went into my head when I did all those temp jobs and those bar jobs, is I was like, this business isn't perfect. They may look shiny and great on the outside, but I've been working behind the scenes. It's not perfect. Stuff goes wrong. And there are people working there. I'm like, how did you get this job? I could do your job with my eyes closed, and yet you run whatever. I was like, that was what really motivated me. I was like, if they can run, they would it just how? Yeah. After that, after seeing so many people doing so many jobs that I was like, you are totally not able to do this job, and yet you are being paid for it. I was like, if they can do it, Jesus, I can do this. And you know, I can, surprisingly. it's not easy, and I do make mistakes, and I will admit to those mistakes. But it's just making sure that you keep going and that you don't use the mistakes as a reason to stop, because as you know, your community of teachers, it's like, that mistakes is how you learn, and so it's easier for us to tell other people to make mistakes, but when we have to make mistakes, it's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. No, I have to be perfect.
I love going back to this last little point, how you said you took their lovely little nuggets of constructive criticism and you're like, all right, is what they're saying valid? Let me look at my product. Okay, yeah, I did say that. Or, oh, I left that part out of my sales page. Or I made them think it was here. Or that link was broken. It was definitely broken. It was not going anywhere. And I could see, so I loved how you, even with bad things, and even like maybe especially with the bad things, those are what make us that windy road, that makes us that's how we stand out, is because we're able to say, okay, we failed. We did something wrong. And instead of just crawling into a hole and saying, well, I just can't do this. This is not for me. I'm an actor. I'm a teacher. I can't be a business owner.
Yeah.
And you grow. And I think that's a huge takeaway from you today. So tell us how we can find more information about you. Yes, growth is uncomfortable because it stretches us, and I don't like stretching.
I don't know. It hurts. Oh, it hurts so much.
So much.
It hurts so much, but no, it's true. You have to do it.
We have like another minute or so, but I want to know how we find out what's your website called, and then give us a sneak preview of maybe what you're working on right now. Like, what is your next thing that you're writing or wanting to accomplish?
So my website is CorinnaCunningham.com. So that's just my full name.com. Yeah. And you can get my products there. And I'm working on at the moment, a couple of things I'm working on right now is I'm making my offer that you bought a little bit bigger and better. So I'm going to be adding more prompts and a few more guides and a few more bits and pieces. So you'll get an email about that being like, I've done it, I've made it better. But I'm also actually training, doing a bit of writing, ghostwriting. So I'm writing something now about how ghostwriting and having your own small ebook out in the world can help with your authenticity and with your marketing. And I might, and you can maybe hire me to write that book for you. But that might be a bit further down the road. I still am in training for that. But yeah, so just making my existing products bigger and better, and hopefully just keeping my business, getting my head around the business side of things, because there's still things.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just me and my VA, and I'm still like, wow, how do people do this? I don't understand.
I don't know. I like, and I think you should take the word just redoing your classes, because I have 58 videos in one of mine, and knowing how much it took me to get that done, to redo all of that means I have to watch myself on camera, which, I mean, you're probably used to that. I hate doing that. And then redoing that, that's a daunting task, because I already did it and I would like to just move on.
I don't want to do it again.
No. So
I
wish you luck with that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been really great. I mean, I wish I had more time to just, talk about it, but I'll end up going off on one and taking up all your time. But yeah, feel free, people can contact me on Facebook and Instagram if they have any questions or if they want.
Absolutely. I encourage everyone to do that and download her 365 Days of Social Media Ideas. They're great. They've helped me out immensely. And you can see her little videos and see her on camera again. So thank you very much. We will be in touch after this. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
I appreciate you doing this. Y'all have a great day.